Hey friend, welcome to Mat Chats with Black or White Gi, where we roll through the highs and lows of jiu-jitsu, life, and everything in between. Come grab a seat on the mat, get comfortable, and let's have a chat. All right, we are back with a metronome. Hi guys, trying a different format. Not even a different format. Hello! It's been a minute. It's been over a year since I have been podcasting or doing anything with Black or White Gi. And I think it all comes down to burnout. I literally just saw a post the other day from, what's this called? BGWG Models. Also an amazing podcast that was talking about how you can feel, what's the word I'm looking for? You could feel overwhelmed or burnt out from jiu-jitsu. And I think that is definitely what happened with me with Black or White Gi. I got overwhelmed. I was posting it for a while, podcasting, all this stuff. And then just lifed and happenings happened. And it was just really hard for me to get things done again. But we're back in a better place. For the most part, still there's a lot going on, but we're getting it done. I'm still training. I had taken, I don't want to say taking a break from jiu-jitsu, but essentially taking a break and, getting back to the mat when I felt was right for me. And, and I want to start back Black or White Gi because I miss it a lot. I love talking to you guys. I love helping you guys. I love all the stuffs in the thing. So I'm hoping to, not make a big deal about it, but to get back to where I'm a little bit more consistent and everything. But that was our warm up. I'm trying a new format. So that was just a warm up. And let's talk about some stuff in the main role, AKA jiu-jitsu burnout. So what I think what contributes to jiu-jitsu burnout a lot is this overarching pressure to be the best. So where does that come from? So you have maybe someone in your gym that you started the same time with, you both started as white belts, and all of a sudden that person is ranking up. They're doing something different where they're getting they're a 3-stripe white belt when you're just a no-stripe white belt. And then, you're training, you get your 3 stripes there, and they're at the same time, they're 3 stripes. Then maybe you get your blue belt and then they get their blue belt after. And then it's kind of this race, and then you feel like maybe you hit a plateau, you're not training as much, or life is happening where where most of us that are doing jiu-jitsu, well, it's a range, but life happens. So maybe work gets busier, or your partner and you are raising a kid, you're getting married, you have work trips, so on and so forth, and you watch the people around you rank up while you're staying the same. And that could be frustrating. That's literally happened to me right now. There's so many people that I started jiu-jitsu with that are, there's one girl that started after me. She's a brown belt. I'm still a purple belt. And I know, to quote Ramsey Dewey, who I absolutely love. He was my coach back in Shanghai when I lived there. He said that you are not a belt. You are a person who is pursuing a martial art. So you shouldn't focus on the idea of a belt. But, sometimes, that shows the amount of work that you've put into the sport in a way. So although I love his philosophy, I understand the realities is that sometimes you're like, oh man, why don't I have my blue belt, or why don't I have my brown belt, or whatever, which is, everyone goes through that. So that's one contribution. And then also another burnout thing is that if you're training every day and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So you're I want to get better. So I'm going to go do jiu-jitsu 10 times and I'm going to do double sessions. I'm not going to if I'm going to take a break, I'm going to take an hour break on a Sunday. I'm going to go back and then train. And you try to do that for, let's say, a month, 2 months, and it's unattainable. It really is unattainable. Your body can't take it. Even if you're in the most, the fittest shape of your life. I train with dudes that are super fit, and dudes and girls that are super fit. They eat healthy, they run, they lift, they do all this stuff, but they can't even maintain doing jiu-jitsu for like twice a day, every day for 2 months. So, and then eventually it gets, not only is it a physical strain on your body, it's a mental strain, because the thing is, again, you're thinking about like, okay, why am I not doing this? Why is this not happening as fast? Or like, I've been trying to do this move, but it doesn't work. I'm looking for my water. Let me take a little sip. Yeah, so I'm trying to maintain both an audio and a visual thing here, guys. But yeah, so it does take a mental strain, and it can be a lot. Let's just be real. Like, jiu-jitsu itself, I mean, with any sport, it is very mental. It is very physical. So sometimes when these things happen, like, those two facets, the mental and the physical, come together, and it does equal this mental burnout. And I know for me, like, I've experienced that multiple times in my life, and I'm sure that other people have experienced this mental strain. And then, you know what? It really is okay to take a break. And that is my going in from the main role into my beginner's corner. If you're someone who is just starting out jiu-jitsu, or if you're someone that maybe you're not new to jiu-jitsu, but you're in this mental like rat race of like, I need to train every day. Like, you're a white belt that has, started a few months ago. This is a jingle from Christmas, if you hear that in the background for the audio listeners. If you're in a state where you're just starting out and you're like, I'm physically tired, I don't know why, like, I can't do this, I'm getting a lot. I'm just here to tell you, as someone who has been doing this for a long time, it is okay to step away from jiu-jitsu. It is okay to say like, hey, look, I need a second to think. I need a second to maybe put jiu-jitsu on a shelf for a moment so I could gather my thoughts, gather like the reason why I'm doing jiu-jitsu, to come back to it. And, as I said, I've had moments of that where I came from a point of like training. I remember when I was a blue belt and I was training again, like every day, 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day. It was cutting into my personal life. It was getting to a place where my friends in Shanghai, and if you keep in mind about Shanghai, if you're a expat there with no family, you go there as a single person, no kids, no husband, no partner, no wife, no nothing, your group of friends is your lifeline. The people you meet there, like, are the people that help keep you connected. And if you lose that, it's almost like you are in isolation. So once you lose contact with your friends, and not saying that I didn't have friends at jiu-jitsu, but we all know that diversity of friendships is what makes us grow, what makes us awesome. Why does this boy keep on itching? Come here, Christmas. Sorry. But what makes us, kind of grow is having that diverse friendship. So when one part of my life was not, when that part of my friendships were not wanting to hang out with me anymore, that really did take a lot. It took a lot out of me, and it made me realize that I need to kind of reassess how much jiu-jitsu I want to have in my life. So again, it's okay. Just like how I'm picking up this podcast again, just how, I've been, like, recently I've been better about training, except for the past 2 weeks. There's a couple of personal things that happened, like a couple of deaths in my circle. So, I haven't been training as much, but all that being said, you can always come back to it. Jiu-jitsu, being a black belt is not the end-all be-all of life. And I have to remind myself of that every day, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm going to be a black belt when I'm 87. You know what? If I get it to be a black belt when I'm 87, it's fine. As long as I'm continuing on the journey. Sometimes we take rest. Sometimes we take stops in the journey. But it just needs to happen. With that being said, I have a tap out question for you all out there. Have you experienced burnout in your jiu-jitsu? And if so, how have you combat that? Did you take a break? Did you talk to someone about it? Did you have to quit jiu-jitsu permanently? And that's okay too. Sometimes jiu-jitsu, sometimes it reaches an end and you're like, hey, I don't want to do jiu-jitsu. Maybe you almost quit. let me know in the comments of the podcast, on this video, and I would love to talk to you guys for next time. I'm really happy to be back. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you later. Bye. All right, friend, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me on the mats. If you love this episode, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me at blackgirlwhitegi_BJJ, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, keep rolling and keep growing.